Today, we're moving one step deeper into the psychology of financial decisions. We've looked at how other people can influence what we think we should have, but comparison doesn't only change what we want. Sometimes it changes what we are willing to risk, and that's where things get very expensive. You don't always take financial risk because you need the return. Sometimes you take it because someone else appears to be getting ahead of you. That's a very different motivation. Let me explain why. Imagine you've built a solid, reliable portfolio. You've done the research, you've allocated properly, you've invested consistently. You're making reasonable progress. You've created a machine that can deliver sustainable, repeatable results over multiple years, if not decades. Then out of nowhere, someone you know makes a fortune on picking a stock or cryptocurrency or flipping a property. Suddenly, your sensible strategy feels outdated. Suddenly, getting rich slowly no longer appeals to you. Nothing about your strategy has changed. Nothing about your strategy is wrong, but your perception of your strategy has now changed. You start asking, what if I'm missing out? And that question can make unnecessary risk feel like opportunity. This is one of the strange things about creating wealth. The risk that feels most uncomfortable isn't always the risk of losing money. Sometimes it's the risk of falling behind or feeling like you're falling behind, because falling behind is relative. You can be doing perfectly well and still feel like you're losing because someone else is moving faster. That's where comparison can distort financial decisions. You stop asking, is this risk appropriate for my circumstances? And start asking, why aren't I getting those returns? Why am I not getting as rich, as fast as that person? The difference is subtle, but that second question, why aren't I getting those results? That second question has completely changed the game you're playing. Now you're no longer evaluating an investment on its own merits. You're evaluating your wealth creation strategy. You're evaluating your life against someone else's outcome. And there's another problem. You usually see the return, you see the outcome, you don't see the risk that produced it. You see the person who made 40% on a stock. You don't see the position they took before they made it. You see the property they bought. You don't see the debt behind it. You see the success. You rarely see the probability distribution that produced it. This is why social comparison can be particularly dangerous in finance. It can turn someone else's outcome into evidence that you should take more risk. But their circumstances aren't yours. Their time horizon isn't yours. Their income isn't yours. Their capacity to absorb a loss isn't yours. And the outcome tells you almost nothing about whether the same decision makes sense for you. The irony is that the more secure your financial position becomes, the less unnecessary risk you may actually need to take. But comparison can make security feel like stagnation. And stagnation is difficult for ambitious people to tolerate. So they take risks, not because their financial plan requires it, but because their ego does. That's a distinction worth remembering. Good risk moves you towards something you actually need. Unnecessary risk often exists to close a gap you only notice because someone else showed you theirs. And that's how comparison becomes expensive, not because someone else has more, but because their success can make you question whether your own progress is enough. And once that happens, You can start risking what you've built just to avoid feeling like you're behind.